Fighting, I guess it's in my blood, man. When you're fighting, you're raw, you're real. Whatever you are, who you are, it comes out. And I've put my life into this. Of course, I want it all the way.
When I'm out there fighting, it's kind of like making art. I love the feeling of cracking someone. I feel like I'm going to knock this kid out and blow up after this fight.
All the other fighters need to be worried about me because I'm a dangerous fighter. It's not even my weight class, but I'm going to steal the show.
I've gone out there, I put in my work, I put in my time, and when I'm in there, I'm going to show everybody why I belong.
Welcome to the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada, where some of the greatest contests in combat sports have taken place. Welcome to Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series pre-show. I'm Megan O'Leary. This is Paul Felder. Today's show is brought to you by Toyo Tires, all or nothing. Paul, first of all, congratulations on that victory just 2 days ago in Scotland. You won a Performance of the Night bonus, so I've got to give you credit. What an incredible, incredible victory. How you feeling?
I feel good, fresh off that win in his hometown with some vicious elbows again. That's 2 in a row for KOs with elbows. So me and Duke Rufus, we're cooking with heat.
Yeah, seriously, he's got just one little stitch on his face. Otherwise, you wouldn't even know that he was in a fight. And then so you win this fight, and you've got a new gig. This is cool.
Yeah, here we are. From one thing to the next, straight flight right over here from Glasgow, and we're here in Vegas, and I'm ready to rock. I'm excited to start this, and these fights are going to be they're going to be epic.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a reminder for all of you who might not know what Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series is about. For 7 more weeks, this was 8 weeks in total, there will be 5 live fights every single Tuesday, and with an impressive performance, one of the fighters on the card's lives may be changed by getting a UFC roster spot. And Paul, obviously you're an active fighter on the roster, but what for you is appealing about this series?
Listen, these guys are supposedly the best from the area, and they're getting pitted against each other for their chance in front of the man himself to get that contract. So the tension is high for these guys. This is their audition. This isn't 6-7 weeks in the Ultimate Fighter house. This isn't Dana White coming to a city near you for looking for a fight. You're here, he's here, it's time to shine, so these guys have to throw down and put it on the line.
Yeah, beautifully put, and let's actually toss it to Dana White for a little bit more on why this Tuesday Night Contender Series is important.
This is basically the ultimate job interview. In one night, we're going to have all the best up-and-coming talent showcasing what they have. One shot, show me what you're made of, and I will determine whether you get in the UFC or not. We bring in all the best talent in the world. I get to sit down, octagon side, and watch these guys perform. We're in the legendary Tough Gym. It's small, it's tiny, it's a pressure cooker. I love to see how these guys can perform, not under the big lights, but under the pressure. I'm always looking for people who have the talent to be world champions, and I'm looking for people who let it go and try to win fights. The Tuesday Night Contender Series live and only on UFC Fight Pass.
This is obviously a really exciting series. Did you have a chance to watch last week's?
I did, yes.
Yeah, and 2 people actually got their name on the UFC roster now because they had exciting performances. For anyone who may have missed the very first episode of Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series, here's a little review.
Oh, what a night it was. Episode 1 of Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series is in the books. Eve Edwards, Dan Helly here with you. It couldn't have been more exciting. We don't have one guy with a new UFC contract. We have 2 guys. Let's start with Boston Salmon, who came into this fight with Ricky Tercios, and he just looked like he was on a different level.
Yeah, he showed that he was on a different level, especially in the striking department. I mean, he stayed calm, focused, and composed. He was able to counter a lot of what Ricky did, and when Ricky would land anything, he would have to pay for it. Anytime he stepped inside Salmon's range, he would take punishment, have to pay a price. And that price that he paid was marked in blood. I mean, you saw it on his face, while Salmon left the octagon looking clean as he did when he walked into it. I mean, he showed his technique, showed his good composure, and why he's a national boxing champion.
The Hawaiian is a student at UNLV right now, works a couple of jobs, probably not going to have to do that anymore with the new UFC contract. Kurt Halibo, he's not going to have to work any other jobs either. Impressive performance from him tonight.
Kurt Halibo looked great tonight. I mean, what he did with his combinations, he threw great combinations, created openings with those combinations, and then capitalized on those openings. Congratulations to Kurt Halibo coming back into the UFC.
Wow, I hope the rest of these are going to live up to tonight because we have set the bar pretty high. What are you expecting to see the rest of the summer here?
I expect to see what we saw tonight. You know, guys who are hungry and they're going to go after it. Guys who want a contract, and like Dana says, you can't leave it in the hands of the judges. You want something, you go out there and get it. That's what we saw tonight. We'll see that for the rest of the summer.
I hope the Snoopcast with Uriah had as much fun as Eve and I did. Episode 1 is in the books. Good job, my man. We will see you again next week and all summer long.
All right, really exciting week number 1. I know week number 2 will be exciting. Don't forget that you can watch all of this only on UFC Fight Pass. If you don't have a subscription, head on over to UFCFightPass.com and sign up. You get a week for free, and I promise you won't want to cancel after that. Paul, let's get right into these fights that you're calling tonight. The first one was Spawn versus DeAnda. Talk to me about Dan Spawn, a very talented fighter, contestant on season 19 of The Ultimate Fighter, sparring partner for Stipe Miocic, so he's no slouch. This is a light heavyweight fight. What are your thoughts on this one?
You know, I've had a lot of experience with Spawn. I've seen him fight live. I've actually seen him compete at heavyweight against Azu and Yanwu and fight him for the CFFC heavyweight title, knockout, and won by knockout. So I've seen this guy fight up weight classes. He's been a regional champion all over the place, fought at 205 heavyweight. The guy has absolute dynamite in his hands, so I'm expecting a lot out of him. He's got a lot of confidence coming into this fight. He's composed. He's a family guy. I'm excited for Dan Spawn in this fight.
Yeah, and then his opponent, Angel DeAnda, he's no slouch either. 14 of his 18 career victories have come by way of knockout. Lots of power in his hands. He's been champion of other organizations, making his way up to this opportunity. So what are you expecting from him?
I expect the same thing. He's a little shorter, so I think he's going to want to try to get inside on a taller guy like Daniel Spawn. But again, he's another guy who's got absolute bombs in his hands. He's got to get inside and touch Spawn's chin and try to just add to that collection of knockouts that he's got going his way right now.
I think we'll be surprised if this one in the light heavyweight division goes all 3 rounds.
Yeah, I don't see it going too far. I don't.
All right, before we get into this next fight, let's take a closer look and hear from the fighters themselves.
My name is Michael James Cora, a.k.a. the Cookie Monster. We spell it in KO and caps because I'm a knockout artist and I will knock out every welterweight in the world. I'm from Tampa, Florida. I train out of Gracie Tampa South MMA. I wanted to get on the top 26 tryouts. And on Monday morning when I was heading out to Vegas, my weight class was canceled. And me being very persistent, I went to Vegas anyway to search for Dana White or UFC executives to earn my UFC contract. Dana White showed up at the Palace Station Hotel, and I didn't expect him to be there at all. And he miraculously showed up, and I just approached him, and I was like, can I just please get 5 minutes? And he gave me the 5 minutes, and I just sold him myself. I told him why I was there, and that I truly believe I belong in the UFC, and I'm the best welterweight in the world. I just need the opportunity to showcase it to you. And I told him, if you believe Conor McGregor has a vicious left hand, my left hand is better. There's not one welterweight that can stand in front of me and take my left hand. We started throwing out options. He threw out the looking for a fight. And then I asked him, what about your Tuesday night Contender series? I was not going to take no. I had it in my mind that I'm not leaving Vegas without the opportunity to showcase my skills in front of the UFC or Dana White. It's the biggest opportunity of my life, and with this opportunity, I will solidify my UFC spot. I will become a UFC welterweight, and I will work my way up the rankings and become the UFC welterweight world champion.
My name is Sidney Outlaw. I'm from Philly. I'm fighting out of Ricardo Almeida, Dante Rivera, German Gym, Hendo Gracie, PA, and Hendo Gracie up in New York. I have made a bunch of sacrifices. I actually wanted to go to New Jersey and train with Ricardo Almeida and Edson and Frankie and everybody. And I wanted it so bad to the point I was actually, homeless. My mind was so focused on training. Anything and everything did not matter. If I had to sleep in a park, I will sleep in that park. And I didn't even hesitate. Yeah, it got tough. Every time I closed my eyes, every time I was huffing or I was down, I always had that dream, that weird drive, in which I was blessed. So when I was sleeping in the park, I didn't hesitate. I didn't care. It's almost similar to like living in hell just to go to heaven. I was a security guard, working and training. I needed any job at the time because I was homeless. Kick somebody out at the bar, yes, I got in a fight. Last thing I remember him saying, like, you up. I'm like, all right, whatever. So I walked home, obviously walked back to the park. The white Nissan moved right up beside me. You heard 4 pop, 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 loud. Didn't believe it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm about to die. I had to run. I hopped over a gate. That's why I believe in God, because I still don't know how the hell I hopped over a gate. I knew deep down that this is all gonna change later down the road. I'm a fighter. I'm a legit, I'm a gladiator. I'm a real fighter. I'm fighting every situation. even life. I want to be one of the best fighters out there. You'll see it. Just stay tuned.
All right, you just heard from Sydney Outlaw and Michael Cora. This one happening in the welterweight division. Sydney, a Philadelphia guy, I'm sure you're familiar with him. He trains under the likes of Ricardo Almeida and Renzo Gracie, two of the greatest grapplers that you could actually train under. And Michael Cora, although his record's only 4-1, all 4 of his victories coming by way of knockout, with 3 in the very first round. I've got to imagine you're pretty familiar with both of them here.
Yeah, with this fight, I mean, we've got a pretty typical striker versus grappler. Cora, dynamite in his hands, always talking about his left hand, saying that if you think Conor McGregor's got a left hand, you should see this kid fight. That's what he says. So we're going to get to find out tonight. Sydney obviously is going to look to take this fight to the ground. The kid is an incredible grappler. I've had the unfortunate experience of being underneath of him and having him punch me in the face. So I can tell you that if he does get the fight to the mat and he does start to control you, it is going to be a long night for you underneath of him.
Paul, thank you so much for your insight. I know things have been very hectic for you the past few days, so we do appreciate you taking any time to talk to us. This is going to be really fun to hear you call these fights. I know that when they said you auditioned, you killed it. You are a thespian at heart besides a fighter, so I know that you're going to be amazing. We appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. So excited to be here.
Yeah, and besides Paul's broadcast, you can actually listen to an alternate feed featuring the one and only Snoop Dogg and, of course, Uriah Faber by his side. Take a look at some of their highlights from week number 1.
Man, we're going to call it like it is, not like it was. You know, me and Uriah, we're going to do our thing. You know, it's going to be a lot of flavor up here, a lot of different conversation with demonstration. Why won't he just climb on his neck right now, like do monkey style on him, you know what I'm saying? Oh, man, yeah, there we go. Tuesday Night Contender, Dana White is in the crowd, man. You can get a contract if you do what you're supposed to do.
You got Snoop watching.
Oh! Damn! Dance with me all night. I have a dream to sign with UFC and Dana White. Oh, I have a dream. I've been to the mountaintop, for my eyes have seen the glory of the coming of these knees in your chest. I'm gonna put you back to bed because you've been acting a fool. Didn't I tell you to go back to bed? Get back in that room and go to bed. Get to bed!
Yeah.
All right, joining me right now to my left is Brendan Fitzgerald. Brendan, first of all, welcome to the team.
Thank you very much.
This
I'm
is a
pumped
little
to join.
different. Yeah, this is a little different from your previous gig.
My background in traditional sports, but man, pumped to get in the fight game. It is can't look away television, which is something I always appreciate and love about it. You cannot eat a salad and watch these fights unless, of course, you're cutting weight like Paul was recently.
Of course. So did you watch the first week?
Absolutely. Tuned in. Watched your pre-show.
Oh, well.
I couldn't even miss
Thanks.
it.
What did you think about the action and what really you can expect and fans can expect from these Tuesday night fights?
Now, I think that with what is on the line for these guys, the best thing is that they don't just need to win. They need to win impressively. Dana White's in the front row. Everybody knows what he likes. So you're not getting game plan fights where, okay, let me tiptoe in. These guys are going for it.
Yeah.
They're going for a finish as early as they can, and they're looking to trade, and they're looking to do what they do best so that they can win in impressive fashion and not just get a win to cash a check.
Absolutely. And two fighters who are really looking to win in impressive fashion are in the bantamweight division, Sean O'Malley versus Alfred Kosakian. Sean trains out of the MMA Lab, a very famous gym in Arizona. He's got a perfect record so far. Alfred trains out of Glendale Fight Club, made famous by Ronda Rousey. All 8 of his victories coming by way of knockout. What do you think about this one?
So Sugar Sean O'Malley, as he calls himself,
Yes.
and you ask him why, and he says, because I'm so sweet to watch. And winning impressively is something that he is not a stranger to, despite not having the chance to fight in front of Dana White yet. His spinning kick knockout, his last time out, went viral on the internet.
Yep.
A lot of people know who this guy is. He polished it off with a standing backflip. Just to cap it off. So Sean O'Malley is a kid who's young, he's undefeated, he says he's good enough and marketable enough to be a household name and take over this sport. It's certainly good to have confidence, but he's backed it up so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's taking on Kosakian. Alfred is 8-3 here in his fighting career. Also no stranger to having impressive performances. When you win all 8 fights that you've had all 8 of your victories come by knockout, I mean, obviously you're doing something right.
Yes, and he says he's the best striker in the world. And again, there's that confidence. So you have O'Malley going up against Kosakian. Both of these guys are really high on themselves. The difference is here, O'Malley is young, undefeated. Kosakian is 28. I don't want to say that's old, but he's engaged now. He says, this is a big chance for me. If I don't win this fight and I have to take a step back in my career, maybe I have to figure out something else to do. So is he fighting for his future in this very sport? That'll be something interesting to watch.
Yeah, certainly is. Another fight that's going to be really interesting takes place in the flyweight division. Let's take a closer look at these two fly guys.
Every fight I fight, I change something. I'm not a cookie cutter fighter. I never fight the same every fight. That's why I'm the Autobot.
Current flyweight division, I believe, is wide open. Obviously, they got the one man at the top of the mountain. They haven't seen somebody like me. That will be the top of the UFC flyweight division. My name is Kosakian. I live in Tucson, Arizona, fighting out of Rise Combat Sports. I'm going to show the whole world why they should know the name Kosakian.
My name's CJ the Autobot Hamilton, fighting out of Hartwell, Georgia for contemporary martial arts. And what I'm going to do is get Dana White to give me that contract. I'm originally from Long Island, New York. Lived there at least 90% of my life. I mean, it's rough, man. It was rough growing up. It was an old house. You know, my mom was the only one working. My dad was doing a side job, so, you had to pay what you could. My mom sacrificed a lot. Growing up where we were, you got gangs everywhere. When I started wrestling, she saw that as a means of getting me out, like keeping me away from that. She sacrificed a lot to keep me in there, and, seeing that, that made me work even harder.
I walked away from my full ride scholarship with wrestling, and my parents were not happy about it. My dad and I didn't talk for about 6 months or so. Decided just to up and move to Tucson, Arizona and come chase a dream. My very first week, I just got a car, got settled in, went down to the basketball courts with my cousin, just shooting around, and I blew out my ACL completely and tore my meniscus. After the injury, I thought I was going to have to move back to Indiana. That was when my dad changed his mind, and he saw that I was actually on the right path again and had to help support me until I could get back on my feet.
I'll never forget where I came from because it got me to where I am now. Other fighters should be worried about me because I don't care. I could care less of what you're good at. I'm going to go in there in that octagon and I'm going to put it all on the line and we're going to scrap regardless.
I'm fighting CJ Hamilton, and this is everything I could ask for. This is my shot to accomplish what I've been striving for.
All right, that one coming at 125 pounds. Hamilton versus Kenny. Hamilton training out of Long Island on a 6-fight win streak. Kenny actually is a judo national champion, 8 or 9 times over?
Yeah, 9 times.
Yeah, so this is pretty impressive resume already before he even stepped foot into fighting.
Yeah, again, and much like Kosakian and O'Malley, you kind of have youth versus a little bit more experience. CJ Hamilton is 30 years old, but he's been on a tear recently, and he goes the distance a lot. So his cardio, is really good. Kenny on the other side, undefeated. He did have a draw his last time out, which of course he did not agree with, but he says he is realizing his dreams are coming true as they're happening, and Tuesday night is the next step in what he believes is his road to the UFC.
The flyweights always have this other sense of cardio. We talk about good cardio in the octagon, but when they get down to the lower weights, it's like they're moving at the speed of light. You can't even keep up with them. What are you expecting that sort of pace because there is so much on the line?
And based on what I've seen, I mean, they're both going to move fast. They're both going to do what they do well. Hamilton he'll say he's a water bug because he likes to wakeboard, but he's a water bug in there too. He is flying all over the place. He'll stand up. He loves kicks. He'll get in the air. He'll spin kick. He'll do a little bit of everything. And he says, I don't have one style. That's why his nickname is the Autobot. He says, whatever you want to do, I'm going to do it better than you. And so we'll see if he can match up with Kosakian on Tuesday.
You guys have a really great card ahead of you. This Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series seems to have perfect matchups. Like all 5 fights you can see never going to decision. And if they do, you can expect a really exciting fight. So how anxious are you to be able to call these now?
I'm excited. I mean, just in the brief time that I've had to call fights, you always want to finish, obviously. That's the most exciting. And you want guys that stand up and trade a lot of times, too. And really all of these fighters, with the exception of one, would probably say that their strength is standing up, throwing punches, throwing kicks, and looking for knockouts. And they've backed it up with their record so far and the amount of knockouts that they've registered. and we'll see if they can continue it in front of some very important eyeballs.
Yes, that is correct. Very important eyeballs like Dana White, Sean Shelby, Mick Maynard. They will all be in attendance in order to possibly change someone's lives. Remember that for the next 7 weeks, this was an 8-week series, that the Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series happens every Tuesday with 5 live fights, only available on UFC Fight Pass. And if one of those competitors has an impressive performance, they can get a spot on that UFC roster. Brendan, thank you so much for your time. For Paul Felder, I'm Megan O'Leary. Here's some more highlights from Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series. Don't miss it.
As I started to go out and look at talent around the country, I started to realize how much talent there is. The level of athlete is getting better and better. This has never been done in the history of combat sports. We're literally going out there all over the world to try to find the next world champion.
Growing up in Waianae, Hawaii, you're always fighting, you know. I believe that God has put me on earth to be a champion one day.
My mom did a great job of raising 6 kids. Sometimes we didn't know if we were going to have heat or not. Sometimes we didn't know if we were going to have hot water or not. We got through it, but now I'm here fighting for them.
I have no idea how I was comfortable sleeping in the football field in Hamilton Park. I had bags of training clothes. I knew deep down this is all going to change.
I was diagnosed with leukemia when I was 2.5 years old, and I've always been a fighter. All I needed to ever do was show Dana that I deserve to be here.
I came from the bottom, clawing my way to the top.
This is everything I've been working for. I'm ready.
I was the little guy in a pretty rough neighborhood. I'm going to achieve greatness, and this is just step one.
There's no denying that I should be in the UFC.
I fight for my kids.
I fight for my dreams.
I fight for the glory.
I fight for my kids, I fight for my family, and I fight to be the best in the world.
The only person I fear is my mom. I ain't fighting her, so we good. What's up, Dana? I hope you have that multi-fight deal for me, because I'm coming for the knockout.
If you know me, you know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for exciting fighters that go for broke and try to win.
I came from the jungle. I'm ready to be one of the top fighters in UFC.
I deserve this second chance. I belong in the UFC.
Who knows what's going to happen, but I'm in there to finish my opponent.
For Dana to be impressed, I have to finish this guy.
I'm going to put on the fight of my life.
The Tuesday Night Contender Series live and only on UFC Fight Pass.
What's your problem? Bored? Stop whining and watch a fight. Not just a fight. Pretty much every MMA fight worth watching. How? UFC Fight Pass. That's how. It's a digital streaming service with the world's largest fight library, original shows, and exclusive live events. That's thousands of fights being through your eyeballs and into your brain. Anywhere, anytime. Problem solved. UFC Fight Pass solves everything.